This man is gone, traveller. Consumed by his own greed, he has been transformed into a gross malformation of all that he sought power over. Leave him be, traveller. There is nothing that we can do to help him. Hello, and welcome to the third video on Heavenly Flesh, my dark fantasy world-building project. Today, we'll be covering the horrors of the Glutton's Curse, a terrible disease found within the lands of plenty and sometimes beyond. As said in earlier videos, a person's humanity is their soul, and by consuming it, the consumer can enhance their own natural abilities. Another key feature about humanity, however, is that it stores part of its original vessel's mind. When individual body parts are eaten, like an arm or a leg, this doesn't pose much of an issue, but when it comes to an entire body, problems arise. The Glutton's Curse is the name given by my world's inhabitants to a condition that cannibals can develop from ingesting all the humanity of one person. The first sign of this illness is when the afflicted begins to hear the voice of the person whose humanity they consumed inside their head. The behaviour of this extra soul is different from person to person, but everyone can agree that it is always confused, always wondering where it is and demanding control of the situation. As the condition progresses, the voice grows louder and louder until the last days of the afflicted, where sufferers have described its screams as being sharper than the strongest headaches, like your head has been cut open with a blunt knife. Before this, however, other effects begin to occur. For one, the body stops burning fat, meaning that the cursed individual can only gain nourishment from the act of eating, and anything that the body doesn't use will stick with them forever. Alongside this, the bones in the victim's face will begin to warp, with their skull becoming rounder and the teeth becoming elongated and embrittled. In some cases, this warping effect can even spread throughout the rest of the body, causing longer legs, longer fingers, ribs, etc., etc. For someone suffering through this stage of the Glutton's Curse, the slightest bit of excess movement can cause their bones to break and fracture, although they'll grow back quickly. The climax of this indisposition is reached when, under the pressure of both starvation and an intensely conflicted mind, the cursed vessel reaches a crossroad. In this situation, both the vessel's physical form and mind have hit their breaking points. Under intense pressure, something has to break eventually, and whatever breaks first will have vastly different consequences. If the vessel's body can no longer cope with the insane physical changes caused by the Glutton's Curse, then the vessel's body will die, destroying both the essence of the body's original host and that of whoever tried to take it over. If, however, the mind of the accursed individual gives in before the body does, then a different kind of transformation will occur. Depending on how long that they've been suffering from the Glutton's Curse, the vessel will enter a vegetative state while they undergo an intense mental metamorphosis through which their humanity is slowly supplemented with that of the person that they've consumed, gradually replacing the dominant mind in their body and leaving them trapped behind their own eyes as helpless spectators to a nightmare made real by their own gluttony. As well as its effects on those who experience it directly, the Glutton's Curse can also be dangerous to those who are within the social orbit of anyone who falls victim to its ravages. The body of a country's leader can be taken over by the soul of someone who doesn't care for the suffering of their subjects, for example, or powerful politicians can have their minds replaced with the thoughts of those who seek only to do their nation even more harm. Because of this, most nations in my world have their own laws that allow for anyone suspected of being affected by the Glutton's Curse to be removed from their positions, or even killed to keep power belonging to the people who originally held it. Other preventative measures exist too, such as keeping all meat from one body separate in order to prevent what people in the world of Heavenly Flesh consider to be another form of cross-contamination. While the Glutton's Curse is mostly viewed as a terrible and devastating disease, records do exist throughout history of various individuals who've used its soul-stealing abilities to their own advantage. By displacing the mind of someone else, these people have managed to live for countless lifetimes until they're caught out by the people around them. It is said, however, that there are still people alive today that were born before the famines and the revelations of the flesh themselves, although whether this is true or not is unknown. Anyhow, that concludes this video. Thank you very much for watching, and thanks to the incredibly talented Nade for making the beautiful art that accompanied this video. That's all for now. Goodbye.